beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace, and I'm back with another video. And yeah, I'm going to talk about revision because everybody's asking me about revision. It's one of my favorite things about the law of assumption. To me, one of the most powerful things, and it really tends to be one of the things that people avoid the most because of just how impossible it sounds, and it's just not something that we can really wrap our head around. But in this video, I'm going to explain how to use it, why you should use it, and I'm going to use the top 3 manifestation categories: money, love, and health, and how you guys can use it to, and why you should use it to manifest these things, okay? But before we get started, I am Olivia Grace. Hi, beautiful Yara. I am a manifestation teacher, and yeah, I have coaching in the description. So if you guys are interested in email coaching, I have that as well. You can also add a SAT scene. Hi, Vanessa. You can add a SAT scene to your email coaching, and I also have one-on-one coaching. Hi, Jade, that you guys can have with me as well. Hi, Carol. Okay, and like the video, you guys, comment, subscribe, share the videos with whoever you feel like it can help, okay? So let's start talking about revision. Now, yesterday I made yesterday I made a video about parallel realities and time and all of these things, and that heavily coincides with revision. Understanding that. Hey, Victor. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Victor, you were one of the people that requested I make another revision video. So yes. Okay. So I highly recommend, you guys, revision has a lot to do with understanding the illusion of time and understanding parallel realities, which I explained both of them in great detail in yesterday's video, okay? But what I'm gonna focus on revision today. So I'm gonna briefly explain like how this works, how is this going on, what's up, Infinite Universe, and how this goes, okay? So thank you, Aiden, that's so sweet. Do I ever manifest my looks? I actually do, and I can talk about that in a minute. But okay, hey, Winter. So yes, first thing to know is time, right? Time is not real. Time is a construct that we are basically all agreeing on to have us have this human experience, okay? So that's all that time is. That means that, what that means in a nutshell, again, I'm saying this in the short way, you guys, because I just expanded on all of this in a video yesterday. So check that video out, but I'm going to give it briefly an explanation so you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? And then when I get into the specific examples of how to use it to manifest money, career, money, health, and love, it will help you understand more, okay? But this, what I'm saying now about time, is a big preface. This is the fundamental understanding to being able to, not even being able to do revision, because you don't need to understand revision to revise, which I want to highlight that, you guys. You do not need to understand revision to revise. When I first used revision, I didn't even really believe it. It was, for me at the time, it was so far from my current understanding of how life worked. It didn't make sense to me, but I just tried it and I got results, okay? So, hey, Kivani. Okay. So, where was I at even? Time is an illusion, right? So, okay, what that means is all realities are in existence now. So, for instance, since we're talking about time, 3-year-old Olivia, if you guys want to see, I have a baby picture right there. I'm like playing the piano. But this girl is in existence now. Even though this is sometime back in the 90s, she's in existence now, even though I'm in existence now. 50-year-old Olivia is in existence now, right? And we have the ability to occupy the consciousness of ourselves at any point in time and space, because your true essence is beyond time and space, right? Your true essence, which is not the avatar that you are, but the consciousness within the avatar that you're in, is not bound by time and space, okay? So when you're understanding that, you can go beyond it, when you're not understanding that, you are basically trapped by your perspective. Okay. Like if you believe that I can only affect myself right now and I can't affect the past, then you're going to experience life that way. But when you open yourself up to deciding and realizing that time is appearing linear, but it is not linear, and that all versions of yourself are in existence. So your past, present, future version, and all the parallel versions of your past, present, and future self are in existence now. I'm intending that makes sense, okay? So when you are using revision, you are choosing a different past. The same way as, let's say you're manifesting, your grades, right? And you have a test tomorrow and you're manifesting that you get an A, right? Then you have a future. There's possibilities of your future. You're seeing that there's a future where you fail and there's a future where you pass, right? So you're giving attention as a manifester. Hey, Mindy, you're giving attention as a manifester to the future where you pass, right? Now you're doing the same thing with revision, but you're doing it from the past. Okay. So you're re-choosing the past, right? You're choosing the other option, because just the same way that, let's say that you were revising your grade instead of manifesting it in the future, right? If you were revising that you passed, then you're going back and re-deciding. So the the past that played out was you failing. You're going to go back mentally and choose the reality where you passed. Okay. So that is in essence what revision is. It's so simple, you guys. I think that it's crazy because it's kind of like someone, you think about something like rocket science, right? Which is like, oh my gosh, only the best of the best, the most intelligent can understand that. And somebody's telling you, hey, rocket science is actually really simple. Just shake this water bottle up and that's rocket science. And you can't wrap your mind around that because you're like, it has to be difficult. It has to be this. And it's like, no, it sounds complex, and technically, in essence, it is complex. If we want to talk about quantum physics and go into depth about parallel realities and time and the illusion and all of this stuff, which I did yesterday in yesterday's video, then yeah, it is complex. But the actual workings of revision is very simple, okay? So why even use revision? Hi, Ramin. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy that my videos are helping you. Hi, Dallas. So, okay, why use revision, right? Why do I hammer this in so much, you guys? Okay, let's be real, right? All of you guys that are, yes, you can, SC. All of you guys, I'm going to give examples in a second, Alexa. All of you guys that are here watching all these videos, right? You guys know manifestation, right? You guys know what you have to do is to decide that things are going to go the way that you want, right? Everybody knows that, right? The simplest, the person who learned about manifestation today knows that in order for me to manifest, I have to decide that things are going to go my way, right? What prevents us from making that decision, right? Even when we're seasoned manifestors, or even when we know the material, what stops us from doing that? It is the identity or the events in the past that have proved the opposite to us. So we are taking our evidence or making our decisions based off of the past, right? Based off of our past identity, right? And so here's what happens with things that happen to us, right? In life, especially in love, career, love, health, and money, right? Long ago, we had certain examples or certain things that unfolded in our life that taught us that this is what it is for me. This is how money is for you. It's hard for you. It's hard to show up. It's hard to keep. It's not enough. This is how love is for you. People leave you. People don't want to be. You're not wanted. This is how health is for you. Your body is breaking down. Your body can't heal itself. Your body is fucked up. So that creates an identity. Okay. Right? So this is like your identity is like your state. Your identity is your most common dominant state that you're in, right? This is what you really truly believe about yourself. Okay. So you have that identity, and that identity was formed somewhere way in your past, right? And your life continued to go on the track of this is who I am. This is how life works for me. This is how money works for me. This is how love works for me. This is how health works for me, because of not only just the past, but that past that has shaped and formed this identity has now been giving you proof from that because you've been manifesting who you are, right? You're manifesting who you are all day long, every day. And so you're getting even more confirmation that, yep, this is who I am. Yep, this is impossible. Yep, this is that, right? So when you go in with revision, now here's the thing. So, some people say that it does actually change physical things. I have had stories where people have changed physical things, changed things like documents, pictures, things like that, right? In my experience, which is what I teach you guys from. I don't teach you guys from something that I just read about. I'm teaching you guys about what I've experienced myself, right? Which is that it changes the future, okay? It changes what's happening next, right? So it's as if you were on that track. So let's start with love, which is what most people care about, right? So you have an identity based off of, sometimes going back as far as childhood, sometimes going back, to maybe school when you've got your first boyfriend or whatever, right? So that has formed an identity for you, which is something that you guys should kind of look into so that you can choose a new identity. Because when your old identity is playing on autopilot and you're not aware that it's actually playing, you're just accepting that as truth, right? But you have an identity when it comes to love. So when you go back and revise that, no, I've always been chosen, right? I've always been loved. I've always been chased. I've always had the man of my dreams. I've always been in my divine union, which that affirmation I used after me and my SP, like we had already like gotten to the point where we had gotten back together or were getting back together, but I still had a lot of like hurt, obviously, from the breakup. I had a lot of feelings that were still a lot of mistrust, a lot of stuff going on that was remnants from us breaking up. And I said, no, we've always been in our divine union. Like I did that on my 7-day revision challenge, which you guys should all do. It's on my my revision playlist. But that challenge got me so many results, you guys, but it got the biggest shift for me with my SP because I stopped thinking from the person who was hurt. I stopped thinking from the person who was left, the person who can't trust, the person who is identifying as unwanted still, or all of these things. Just by me revising, I've always been in my divine union. So I don't have to be unsafe here. If I've always been in my divine union, then I'm safe here, right? And that's what it did for me. And that was when I got a huge shift in my SP and he started showing up completely different again, right? Much more in line with what I wanted. So use revision, guys. Here's the things that I would do for you guys for love, okay? If you have had, like, let's say if you had a bad childhood, and that's where your beliefs about love come from. Go back and revise that childhood. If you've had a string of bad relationships, if you guys pay attention to your relationships, there's usually maybe not the same actions coming from the same people. Sometimes it is, but there's the same feeling going on within your relationships. There's the same identity that you're having within your relationships, okay? And so when you realize that, if you've always been cheated on in the past, you've always been left, you've always been with guys that just didn't treat you good, you're going to revise that. Just go back and see it. All you're going to do, and like, I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a mom that never had time for you, right? I want you to go back and see you and your mom hanging out. See her taking you somewhere, just the two of you guys to hang out. See her showing up for your school events. See her making you feel important. If you've had relationships where guys never treated you right, or you were always the person who was, spending all your money in the relationship, see yourself being doted on, see yourself getting princess treatment. It literally is that simple, you guys. I promise you, promise you, promise you. So when you're doing this, you want to be in SATs if you can, and re-see it. Make the scene vivid. And it's actually easier to make the scene vivid because you've already lived the scene. So you can re-enter the scene consciously, right? And re-see it going out somewhere else, re-see it playing out a different way. So you can re-see yourself in the situation where you're talking with SP and they told you no. And you see them go back to that exact moment, catch the mood, feel the air, see in detail the environment that you guys were in, and just hear them telling you yes, right? Now, you also don't even have to be in, you don't even have to go into SATs or whatever. I do that when whatever I'm revising feels hard or feels difficult. I go into SATs to do my revision. You can also revise with just affirmations, right? So let's move on to money. When it comes to money, it's the same thing, you guys. Like, I've been learning a lot about manifesting money lately. And a big part of why people struggle to manifest money is, again, the story that you're telling, the story that you have had for your whole life that has showed you it's not safe to trust for money. The only way that you can get money is if you work hard for it. If you're not working hard, or if you have the belief that there's never enough, it doesn't even matter how hard you work, there's just never enough. And so to go from that mentality, even though you know that, hey, I know that if I want to manifest money, I have to change my story around money, but the fear of how can I change my story around money if I don't have it yet? I don't see it yet. I can't trust that it's coming, right? Because a lot of manifestation is about trusting. It's about being able to drop the old story and persist in the new story, even when the old story is still in your face. It's very hard to do that when your old story consists of bills, or you having a place to sleep or not, or you having food to eat or not, right? But at the end of the day, it's fundamental, you guys. Like, let me just pause right here and just say, y'all, listen. And I say this in a few videos, but I'm going to say it again, y'all. It doesn't matter how hard it is for you to take your attention away from what's in 3D. Like, I see people saying, but it's hard for me to do that. Or how am I supposed to do that when this, and this, and this, and circumstance. And I get it. I hear you. But the thing is, y'all, it's no other way. You're not going to sit here and feel overcome by your circumstances and focus on your circumstances and tell everybody your circumstances and type out your circumstances every day and have it change. You're not going to identify as the same person or feel like, oh, well, 3D, I just can't change my mind. So what do you think is going to happen from that? Like, I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, it might be difficult, but what are you going to do? Choose your hard. It's also difficult not having what you need. It's also difficult being alone and hating yourself. Like, it's also difficult to live without the things that you want to have in your life. So choose your difficult. Which one are you going to choose? Like, it's up to you. Okay. So that in mind, when it comes to manifesting money, right? You have an identity that says money is hard to come by. You have this identity. Money, like, I know for me, my story with money was that I couldn't manifest money. So I was able to manifest everything except for money, right? So whatever your story is, I want you to realize that. Again, what is the thought? Even with money, even through different circumstances of your life, times that you had money or not had money or whatever, your identity is somewhat the same, right? Like, what is it that you're thinking about money, right? What is it that you're thinking that there's never enough, that, only evil people have it, that you never have enough money, you've never had enough money, your family's never had enough money? I want you to start telling yourself, I've always had enough money. If you grew up impoverished, then I want you to go back into your imagination and see yourself growing up having money, and it sounds crazy, y'all. I really get it. And I promise you, I get how that sounds. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? There's no way we can go back to the past, but we can. They say that, I think it's something like 50 or 70% or something of our memories are not right anyway. They're wrong anyway. We're already imagining what the fuck we want anyway, but we're usually doing that in line with some sort of story that's going to give us, sympathy. Like, oh, well, this happened and that happened. Feel bad for me. You know what I mean? Like, the victim state is a bitch, y'all. I'm telling you, because it makes you, like, when you're there, you feel like this is the only place where I can get comfort. This is the only time I get love, is when people are feeling bad for me and pitying me. But unfortunately, a life of pity is so much worse than a life of freedom and a life of bliss and a life of doing whatever the fuck you want and getting whatever the fuck you want, right? But it can keep people there because they feel like this is the only way for me to get love, right? But no, come out of that. Come into your power, right? Retell your story. Re-see. If you grew up poor and you have picked up an identity for that, re-see that. Re-decide that you grew up rich. You grew up with money. You grew up having what you needed. See yourself at 16 getting a brand new car because your parents had that to give to you, right? See yourself going to the nicest college because your parents had that to give to you. And just change your story, you guys. This is the biggest thing. When you start, because like I said, for me, I had a problem thinking like, oh, well, manifestation, I can't manifest money, So what that did for me was, even when I would try to manifest money, I had the idea that this isn't going to work for me. I know it never works for me. I know it's not going to work for me, which caused an expectation for it not to work, which caused for it not to work, right? So, but when I say I'm going to consciously identify as the version of me that is great at manifesting money, that gets money every time she wants to manifest it, then what that causes in me is expectation in the opposite direction. I'm now expecting to get money. I'm expecting for my manifestation to work. I'm expecting for money to hit my account. Like, y'all, that in itself has changed so much for me. Just expecting for money to hit my account without any reason to expect that, without anything, just expecting that regardless of what I'm seeing, money is going to hit my account. Money is coming to me. Money is like oxygen. That has been one of my favorite affirmations lately. Money is available to me like oxygen. Money is available to me like air. Money, it's all around me, just like air. Whenever I need it, I just breathe in, breathe out. It's there. Like, money is that available to me, just like oxygen, like air. Like, that's amazing. But redecide, re-see the moment that poverty became your experience. I want you to see it going differently, right? The moment you took that job instead of the other job that would have got you more money, see yourself taking the other job and see events following as if it had played out the way that you wanted it to play out. Okay, you guys? So when it comes to health, and I also have a story that I use revision for this as well, right? Dallas, you're so funny. So I'm blowing your mind right now. So what was I gonna say? Health, right? So again, health creates like, if you have been identified as a sick person, or whenever you went to the doctor and the doctor said, hey, this is what you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life, right? Like, this is just life for you now. This is a chronic disorder. This is a chronic illness. This is just what it is for you. And you accepted that, okay, this is what it is for me. Now you're continuing. Or even sometimes, hey, Dracarius, sometimes it's, just the fact that, like, your family has had it, right? Which was another thing that I actually revised as well. Your family has had it, so I'm susceptible to it, or, whatever. All of that stays in your mind and your subconscious as, this is just what my experience is. And you just accept it, like, okay, like, this is just what it's going to be, right? No, go back to that moment that the doctor diagnosed you with whatever they diagnosed you, and say to yourself, or hear them telling you, no, you're all good. You're all clear. Hear them telling you, no, you're good. It was just something small, or it was just something that's going to go away, or, oh, just take this medicine and it's going to take care of it for you. Something like that. Okay. Like, that's what you have to do when it comes to health. The reason why revision is so important is because it's retelling and re-identifying yourself. And it does it, I honestly can't even explain how it does it, right? But it just does. Like, that information, like that identity that you had, just somehow shifts, and it shifts extremely quickly, you guys. Like, I'm telling you, you guys, do not worry about trying to figure it out, because that's everybody's problem when it comes to revision, trying to figure it out, trying to figure out the how. Which is probably the two biggest questions. Number one, what is it going to affect the rest of my life? Am I going to wake up in a reality where, I don't recognize anything, or things are completely different? Is it going to take away the things that I want to keep in my life? And the answer is no, you guys. I have never revised something and had, something taken away from me that I didn't want to be taken away. Every time I revise, you guys, it specifically affects the specific thing that I'm trying to revise, and that's it, okay? And the other thing is, how is this going to happen? How is it if this happened? Like, I find that people want to manifest impossible things from a logical point of view, and that you can't really do, you guys. And I won't even say can't, because honestly, most of the time, there are logical ways for things to unfold, but we're just not aware of all the ways, which is another reason for you not to be concerned about the how. But a lot of people want to still manifest impossible things, like changing, their whole entire life, their whole entire past. And they don't understand, like, oh, but this doesn't make sense, but that's not logical. Like, y'all, manifestation is not logical. Well, I can't even say that because it is logical. Like, it can play out logically. A lot of times it does play out logically, but a lot of times it just doesn't, you know? Like, and if you want to experience miraculous things, I said this in one of my other videos. Hi, Ricky. If you want to manifest miraculous things, if you want to see miracles happen, you have to be able to take your attention away from logical things. You have to be able to just allow. It's not about you figuring out the how, it's just being open to experience miracles, right? It's being open to experience things that don't make sense. So you're trying to make something logical that's just not logical, right? And you're using that as a reason as to why it won't happen. What's worse than that is that you're using it as a reason to not even try. Instead, you're just saying, how do I do this? How do I do this? What do I do? What do I do? Da, 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 da. Just do it. Just re-see it. Just reimagine it. And just watch what happens from that. That's the only thing that you can do. I cannot tell you. Nobody can tell you, right? Like, as nobody can tell you how it's going to happen. All you can do is just imagine it. Just reimagine it. So, and I did this with my period, you guys, that I had healed. I revised that my period was always regular. I went back and saw my life playing out as if I had a regular period, and it fixed it in the present, right? It fixed it in the present to where my period started becoming regular. So all of these things work, you guys. It works. Revision is amazing, like, to be honest. And I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't use it because it just sounds so outlandish, but that's why I encourage you guys. Something you guys can do is just to revise your day, okay? Just re-see your day playing out, and all the little inconveniences and all the little things that happen that you maybe didn't want to happen, just re-see them and just watch what happens. That's the best thing you can do. Or something that's really cool to do is to take a relationship with somebody. Like, let's say you have a coworker that is like notorious for getting on your nerves or notorious for just being like bad energy, whatever. I want you to re-see your interaction with them, re-see your meeting with them, and decide, no, we've always gotten along. This person has always been super cool. This person's always been super happy. This person's always been super helpful. And just see what happens. You will be mind blown. Like, that's the thing about manifestation, you guys, revision especially, but manifestation in general, is that what honestly builds up your belief is you seeing it happen. Like, all of these different, videos and people explaining it and, success stories are great. And it definitely creates a shift within you, but there's nothing that will shift you like seeing things happen from your imagination, seeing it happen from your imagination, just knowing that I put my attention on this thing and now it's happening. Nothing is better proof than that, okay? So I'm just encouraging you guys, revise your day tonight. Revise your relationship with somebody. Revise something out of one of these things. If you're manifesting love, money, health, go back and revise it. Keep revising it, right? Revise that you've always gotten what you want. Revise that if you're having a difficult SP journey. No, it's been going amazing. You've been getting movement from the beginning. You've already been back together. It's already been like that. Like, we already spent Valentine's Day together. We're making plans for the 4th together. Like, we've already done all this, right? Revise it and just change it in your mind. Remember that you're doing all this in imagination. There's nothing for you to do physically, okay? So I'm intending that helps. I'm intending that makes sense. If you guys would like coaching, email coaching in the description, SATScene in the description, one-on-one coaching in the description. If you would like to watch my SP documentary from the breakup to the reconciliation, then that is on my playlist. I'm going to read your comments really quick. Okay, I'm gonna start from the bottom up. Any tips for when you feel delusional when manifesting? Okay, this is a great question because, okay, think about it like this, Ramin, and everybody. Like, realize that your future is not set, right? We think that time, again, is linear, right? Tomorrow is happening based off of yesterday and the day before and the day before, right? Like, no. Time is happening tomorrow is happening based off of what you say today, right? So that is what I'm always aware of. I'm always aware, like, I actually had a dream a long time ago, you guys, and it was like I was walking into nothing. Like it was like in front of me was just like a sheet of like blank white energy. And the knowledge that I had when I woke up was that the future is nothing. The future is not anything. The future is what you decide that it is. So when you know that the future is deciding what it is, like think about it like this, Ramin. If you're an artist and you have a blank canvas in front of you, or even let's say you don't have a blank canvas, there's a painting of a rose right now and you want the painting to be of a sunflower. It's like if you say, oh, well, there's a rose here, so I'm not going to paint the sunflower because the rose is here. It's delusional for me to drag my brush and put yellow petals here. That's delusional. Is it delusional or is it creative, right? Like to me, delusion is creative, is creation, right? Your future is, you're always deluding yourself. You're currently deluding yourself into believing that you are this avatar, which you're not really. You're God expressed as an avatar, but you're deluded into believing that you are. So to me, like when it comes to being delusional, it's like I see it like that, but it's really a knowing that this is only going to be what I want it to be. Like it's going to be what I say it's going to be. So I'm going to say whatever I want to say. Like I'm going to say what I want it to be. So that's kind of, I don't know if that really answers it. I hope that it does. Okay. Oh, about appearance. Okay, Aiden. So when it comes to like manifesting like beauty and stuff for me, you guys, what really happened was, I mean, yeah, I'll start from there. What really happened was I one day was really feeling like so ugly. Like I felt so ugly because like I've always struggled with my appearance and, like being kind of like, okay, like nowadays, like being a Black girl is like, beautiful and it's loved and it's celebrated. But when I was growing up, it wasn't like the standard of beauty was basically white girls. You know what I mean? And so as a Black girl, your features, everything about your features was not right. Like your feature, my nose, my lips, my hair, even my skin color, everything about our bodies, everything about a Black woman was kind of opposite to what like the beauty standard was, right? And so I was having this moment where I was just feeling like really unattractive and really like not feeling good about myself. And I decided though, I was like, you know what? My beauty, because here's the thing, y'all. I know this is a tangent. Oh, thank you, Dallas. You're so sweet. But I know this is a tangent, y'all. But listen, let me tell y'all why physical appearance really, it's not even your physical appearance that matters. It's really how you feel about yourself. There was this YouTuber. Her channel got deleted because a whole bunch of drama. She ended up like lying about a whole bunch of her manifestations. But this girl, she looked like she wasn't ugly by any means, of course, but she was just like a regular girl. She didn't do her makeup. Her hair would be like whatever. And she was a Black girl, right? And people would be in her comments like, you look like Ariana Grande. Like you look, and y'all, when I tell you, she didn't look a goddamn thing like Ariana Grande, and she wasn't ugly. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying she was ugly. She just didn't look anything like her. But she was telling herself that, you know what I'm saying? So people were seeing her that way. So it's like when I realized that, it really like even one of my ex-boyfriends, like my boyfriend before my current SP, he was like a short dude. He was not very attractive. He was like, he didn't have a lot physically going on, but he was extremely, extremely, extremely confident. Like, so because of that, he got lots of hoes. You know what I mean? Like, you guys even think about it. There's so many people in the reality, women and men, who are not, you look at them physically, they're not anything physically to look at. It's the way that they carry themselves. It's the way that they feel about themselves. It's the way that they talk to themselves that they decide they are the best looking thing that is walking the planet. Like, and so because they feel like that, other people feel like that. You know what I'm saying? And even you can see it as well. I saw this with the opposite, where I can see a woman who is very, like she's attractive physically, right? But she doesn't feel attractive. She's insecure. She's, you know, she's kind of shrunken in. So she's not the one that gets attention. She's not the one that gets people, you know, asking her out. People kind of overlook her, even though physically she's completely a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I say all that to say, in that moment of me feeling like, dang, I'm feeling really ugly, like I feel like I'm just not the beauty standard, I just literally flipped that on its head. And I was like, no, this is my reality. Sorry, my phone's dying. I was like, this is my reality. So of course I am the beauty standard. I am the beauty standard, right? I'm not even going to try and fix myself. I'm not going to say, oh, well, let me get a straighter nose so that I can be more like, you know, what I feel like the beauty standard is, or change this or change that. I just decided that what I am is the beauty standard, right? And started just talking to myself, like, y'all, loving on myself. And I promise you, like, one affirmation that I use is like, I get prettier and prettier every day, right? Or just, I started just talking to myself differently. I started just loving on myself. I started to see myself as the little girl that I showed you guys earlier, and talk to myself how I would talk to her instead of talking to myself crazy. You know what I mean? And now it hardened into fact to where I feel beautiful all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be walking past the mirror like any time of day, and I'm like, I feel like Johnny Bravo, like, man, I'm pretty. Like, I just feel like that, you know? But it honestly came from repetition of me deciding, first of all, deciding that I don't need to change to be beautiful, right? That it's not me, like, and y'all can see it in all these people in these faces, that they look actually crazy because they're deconstructing and reconstructing their face so much to the point to where they look like a blow up doll, but they can't stop because they're trying to chase they're trying to chase beauty on the outside, right? Without feeling beautiful within. And I don't care what you form yourself into. We can see that with all these celebrities who's putting implants in and taking implants out. They don't know whether they want to be thick or skinny. They don't know where they want to be because they're trying to fit into something instead of feeling inside that they are beautiful, right? So that's really what I did. I just decided that I'm beautiful. I didn't decide that I had to change anything or do anything. I just decided that I'm beautiful and that I am the standard of beauty, and I don't need to change to do anything else, okay? Think when you fall in love with someone, you deeply love them for who they are. Even their defects make them special. Not defects. I can't. You're hilarious. That's my daughter. She's so beautiful and she's struggling to see it. You are beautiful. Aw, village girl. I'm intending that your daughter finds her beauty. It's hard for us girls, you guys, because the standard, you know, it's like beat into us from the beginning that we're not good enough. Even the most beautiful girl feels like she's not good enough. You know what I mean? It's fucked up. But we have to, like, one thing is that we as a people have to stop putting so much emphasis on society, because everybody's like, oh, society is creating unrealistic expectations. No, we need to stop deciding what beauty is from society. Decide by yourself. I mean, to me, I look at, like, to be honest, and it's no shade to anybody, because I honestly feel bad for these women that are in the public eye and trying to keep up with these public standards of beauty, and they're like messing up their body and their face for life. But look at it. It doesn't look right. It doesn't even look good. You know what I'm saying? But people are still willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars to look crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just to match a trend. The problem is that we feel like we have to match trends. It's not the trend, right? Trends are always going to be what they are. It's us deciding that people need to tell us how to feel about ourselves. We need an example of somebody to feel good about ourselves. No, we need to teach ourselves and our children to decide that we feel good about ourselves, like, regardless of anybody else. Okay. What if my SP from the beginning has been really narcissistic? How can I change my mind about that? Like, make easy the revision so I can manifest the version of him. I would say go right back, Abby, to the first time that he showed narcissistic tendencies. Whatever it was that he did where it clicked in your mind, like, oh shit, I think he's a narcissist, or that doesn't quite seem right. Start there and just start seeing him doing the complete opposite, you guys. And remember that when you're imagining, you guys, it's just pretend, okay? It's just like, again, realize that if you're sitting with like, I have a niece and she's 8. We don't have tea parties, but you know, we pretend a lot. And if we're pretending, if she says, okay, pretend that you're a dinosaur, I'm not going to say, but but you know, I call her Rugrat. I'm not gonna say it, but Ruggy, look, I have brown skin, not scales. I'm not, you know, I'm only 5 feet. You know, I'm not big enough to be a dinosaur. I'm not gonna bring logic into the game, right? And that's what people do. Like, just pretend, go back in your mind and use your imagination as if he was this way instead of the way that you wanted him to be. Oh, thank you. Is that you, Grace? Thank you, Name Twin. I appreciate you so much. But yes, go back and just re-see it, you guys. Dallas, when you say you're cheating though because you're beautiful, I want you guys to know, y'all, that I did not feel like that. Y'all, I had the worst self-esteem, the worst feeling about how I looked. I literally at a point in my life hated everything about myself from my head to my toes, okay? Literally. So it doesn't matter. It's not because I'm beautiful now. Like, I decided that, and then now it shows up like that. You know what I'm saying? How you literally revise. Like, what does it look like for you? 2 to 3 hours thinking. Do you write it out for 15 minutes? What does that really look like for you? Okay, that's a great question. So when I'm revising, you guys, I literally, like, it depends. Like I said, if it's something that like when my sister lost my remote for my projector back there, I resaw, like, I go back to the moment that the problem started, and I re-see that moment and a little bit afterwards as if it didn't happen like that. So for instance, when I lost my remote, I was bringing a backpack to my sister's house and I would pack the, you know, all the cords, the projector, and the remote in the backpack. And, you know, when I would leave, I would take that and come home. When I left that night, I packed the backpack without the remote because it was lost, right? So when I came home, I reimagined in my mind. I did this in SATs because I was so frustrated and I really thought that my remote was lost forever because my sister had just moved. So I was like, how am I gonna find this little bitty ass remote in her house, right? And so I resaw myself packing the backpack and putting the remote in the backpack, right? And just resaw it. I looped it a couple times. I might loop it a bit. And then, you know, that's it. Like that's just what I do. Or what I do when it's not such a big deal to me is I just say it. I'm just like, not necessarily out loud, sometimes out loud, but I just affirm that no, it didn't. Like, for instance, I had burned my arm the other day, and like, it was burning, it was stinging, and I was just like, no, I didn't. Like, no, I didn't. And I might even sometimes like just quickly revise, like see in my mind me pulling out the thing out the oven without burning myself. But honestly, a lot of times I just do it with like affirmations, like, no, it wasn't like that. No, I've always been like this, right? Like, so when you're affirming, instead of saying, you know, I'm a money magnet, I've always been a money magnet, you know, SP and I are together. No, SP and I have always been together. It's just that of, it's always been like this. No, it was always like that. No, it went like this instead. You know, no, or my favorite is really like, no, it wasn't. No, it's not. No, it's not. Or yes, it did. You know, if I look at, oh, this thing didn't happen. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Like that. It's very simple. Like that's how I do it, you guys. Let's see. I don't care about the how as long as it happens, for real. That's right, Ricky. Let's see. Can we erase, revise 3Ps that like they never existed in our reality? Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is like a story. Oh, I should save this for like a revision success story, but I'm gonna say it anyways. This girl literally revised, like basically her SP had a baby with somebody else. And she like just didn't accept that. She was like, no, like it's not his, like that's not his baby. Like she revised that the baby wasn't his. It turned out that the baby was not his, y'all. Literally. It turned out he got his mom, like convinced him to get a DNA test, and the baby turned out not to be his. So yes, you can revise and erase SPs like they never existed. In my opinion, I wouldn't be even giving any attention to an SP, but you can revise like however, but people do that all the time. Yes, you can definitely affirm from for a revision, you guys. Let's see. I've connected having money with beauty. In life, I only see beautiful women marrying wealthy men and getting promoted or having successful business. That instilled that beauty matters. And I've got acne scars and alopecia. Not beautiful at all. That will not attract any money and chances in life. Okay, Sunshine Fee, that is just the story, okay? That is just a story. First of all, There are plenty, 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 plenty of unattractive women that have plenty of money, you know, number one. But number two, stop identifying as an unattractive woman, right? Because again, it's just like I said with my own story. I didn't say, oh, I'm ugly, so I'm going to change these things about myself. I said, I'm feeling ugly, so I'm going to decide to feel beautiful. And I'm going to tell a new story, Sunshine Fee. So let me ask you this, Sunshine Fee, because you've told me about this alopecia in a few videos. How often are you telling the story of your hair being thick and long and healthy? Because that's the only way that is going to change, okay? Thinking as if is not trying. It has already happened and natural to you that you guys are talking every day. I'm still trying to get my SP to communicate. Okay, so for instance, with this, I'm trying to get my SP to communicate. I would take that statement and say, no, my SP and I have always been in communication. How can I revise being single and not having a family of my own? I am too old to have my own family. How could revision help me with this? Just see yourself having a family. Go back to the moment. Go back to any time and just decide, no, I've always had a family. For that, I would say affirmations would be easy because it's kind of hard to create a scene around that. Just decide and tell yourself, I've always had a family. I've always had a family. And be open to the how, okay? I don't know the how. How can I revise my blockages with friendships? Go back in the time. Go back in your imagination to the time when you first had fucked up friendships, because that is what created that identity and that decision that your friendships are fucked up, and see your friendships being healthy and amazing. My friend was told she has an incurable STD. She knows that's not her identity and that she can revise, but her new boyfriend wants to do the do. Any tips? Well, definitely revise it, but just be safe in the meantime. You know what I mean? Like, wear a condom, you know? Hey, Golden Amethyst. I love your success story compilation video. Do I have any more? No, I'm going to make some more though, but I have a success story playlist, you guys, with lots and lots of success stories on there. I'm trying to manifest a height decrease. Is it possible? Yes. You've always been that height. Okay. Does that mean when we die, you keep existing in other timelines? There has been a lot of evidence of that. There has been evidence of people seeing themselves die in a car accident and then waking up like a few minutes before the accident happened, like in another lane or somewhere else to where they don't get in the accident. So these things are honestly, we're jumping timelines all the time. But yes, they call that, what do they call that? It's like infinite mortality or something like that. I can't remember. Currently trying to revise a glow up. I'm doing it with scripting though to manifest everything I wanted. I love that. I be trying to revise every damn thing. Me too, Vanessa. That's literally what I do. Infinite Universe, you're so serene. Thank you, beautiful. All right, I think that's it. But let me make sure you guys don't have anything down here. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you, Caramel Popcorn. You guys are literally so sweet. Yes, tell the new story. It's the only way, you guys. How can I make my new story sink and emotional? I can tell it with my mind, but emotionally it still doesn't feel real. Should I still be doing it longer and every day and one day it will click? Okay, I'm going to answer this and then I'll hop off. Sunshine Feed. I want you to imagine that you have two containers, okay? You have two containers. This is your old story. No, this is your old story because it's bigger. This is your old story and this is your new story. So every time you are coming on here and saying, but I have this, but I have that, it can't happen, but this, but that, all you're doing is pouring back energy into this old story. That's all you're doing is just you're refilling, you're re-emphasizing, you're reconfirming, you're setting yourself into the old story. Your new story is here getting little droplets whenever you affirm for 5 minutes that, okay, I have long, beautiful hair. Or you listen to my video and say, oh, okay, I guess it's possible. But this is never getting enough love, okay? The way that it doesn't matter if you feel it emotionally. You're not gonna feel it emotionally because you haven't put any energy into it. right? The way that you start to feel it emotionally is by consistently, persistently continuing to give attention to that regardless of what's in front of you. And also starving the old story. Stop feeding into it. There's no reason, Sunshine Fee, for you to ever say that again. I don't want you to ever type that again. I don't want you to go talk about it again. I want you to stop talking about it to yourself. Stop talking about it to your friends. It's the old story. And if you want it to die off, you have to stop feeding it. Right? You have to stop feeding it and start feeding the other story. Okay? It's the only way. It's the only way. Okay? My phone is literally dying, you guys. I once revised my parents' relationship as super loving. The next day, my SP was more affectionate. I love that, Blissfully. That's a perfect example of how manifestation or revision works. How do you script revision? Victor, just write it. It went like this instead. Rewrite it as if you're writing a journal entry. You know, if what the reality was, oh, wow, today I went out the door and I slipped on a banana and fell in a pile of ice cream and whatever, then you're going to rewrite. Today, I walked out and I walked smoothly to my car and I didn't slip on anything. I just got in my car and went to work. Like, you're just going to rewrite as if. It's simple, you guys. I'm telling you. Take the story that it was and flip it. Just like if you were lying almost. You know what I'm saying? You telling your girl, oh, well, I was with, you were really with Susie, but you're telling your girl, oh, I went to Publix. You know what I'm saying? It's just easy. Just tell a different story. Tell the story differently. That's it. Just like that. Thank you, Dallas. Some days I don't feel like affirming. I'm assuming this is okay. It makes me feel more stressed if it doesn't come naturally or feel like doing it. It's okay. Remember that it's not what you're doing. It's how you feel about what you're doing. So you want to decide that it's already done, so I don't have to affirm, right? I already have it. How would the version of you feel if she wasn't affirming? She would feel fine because she already has it, right? So just decide that everything that you're doing is correct, okay? Here we are at another hour on this live and I need to go to the park, but I love you guys so much. I am intending that this makes sense. If you guys want coaching is in the description. Like the video, comment on the video, share the video with somebody that you think it will help, and I will see you guys in the video soon.